Thank you so much for joining me today. We are working a psalm spell today, and we are working on Psalm number 39. And traditionally, we work Psalm 39 for courage. And when we say courage, we are talking about being able to look at your fears straight on, head on, and notice that when we do look at our fears head on, that those fears either dissolve or become our allies. And so we are no longer going to be plagued and running away from fears, because what we run away from tends to chase us. So we are going to turn and face those fears and watch them disappear. All right, and the way we do this is very simple. We take the psalm and we read it all the way through out loud, and that's known as an incantation. And then we take that psalm and we go back through it and we work through it. We work the magic by searching for hidden meanings within each verse, each line, and sometimes each word. And through that hunting and searching and contemplating, we are thus planting those seeds deeply into the fertile ground of our minds. And they take root and they grow and they bear fruit after their kind. And this magic is very powerful and very effective. And I'm glad that you're going to work it with me today. So here we go with Psalm 39. I said, I will take heed to my ways, that I sin not with my tongue. I will keep my mouth with a bridle, while the wicked is before me. I was dumb with silence, I held my peace, even from good, and my sorrow was stirred. My heart was hot within. While I was musing, the fire burned, then I spake with my tongue. Lord, make me to know mine end, and the measure of my days. For it is that I may know how frail I am. Behold, thou hast made my days as an handbreadth. Mine age is as nothing before thee. Verily, every man at his best state is altogether vanity. Selah. Surely every man walketh in vain. Surely every man walketh in a vain show. Surely they are disquieted in vain. He heapeth up riches, and knoweth not who shall gather them. And now, O Lord, what wait I for? My hope is in thee. Deliver me from my transgressions. Make me not the reproach of the foolish. I was dumb. I opened not my mouth, because thou didst it. Remove thy stroke away from me. I am consumed by the blow of thine hand. When thou with rebukes dost correct man for iniquity, thou makest his beauty to consume away like a moth. Surely every man is vanity. Selah. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and give ear unto my cry. Hold not thy peace at my tears, for I am a stranger with thee, and a sojourner, as all my fathers were. O spare me, that I may recover strength, before I go hence, and be no more. All right, and so now we are going to go and do this magic. Here we go. Okay, so I said I will take heed to my ways, that I sin not with my tongue. I will keep my mouth with a bridle, while the wicked is before me. So at this point in this psalm, the psalmist is not specifically telling us that he's addressing the Lord. So we don't know if we're talking to the Lord here or if we are musing to ourselves. So let's just look and see what this says to us. I said I will take heed to my ways, that I sin not with my tongue. So if you watch what you're doing, if you watch what you're saying, you won't, quote, sin with your tongue. Watch your words. It's your idle words that are the telltale signs of what you're thinking. You can't always, or rarely can you control your thoughts, but you can learn how to control your words. I will keep my mouth with a bridle, while the wicked is before me. So the wicked being before you are those thought forms. But if you shut up and you don't give them any way to express themselves, then you are starving them out. So all those fearful thoughts, you don't need to you don't need to give them any audience with your words. I was dumb with silence. I held my peace, even from good, and my sorrow was stirred. So well, let's just go on and because he kind of talks about this a little bit more also. My heart was hot within me. While I was musing, the fire burned. Then I spake with my tongue. Okay, so this is talking about how sometimes when we do what we say we're going to do here, and we're just going to hold our tongue, and we're not going to use our words against ourselves, there's also a way that we can abuse ourselves with that by just going and just holding our mouths really closed while we're fuming inside. Okay, and so that's not necessarily what we're talking about either. Lord, make me to know mine end and the measure of my days, what it is, that I may know how frail I am. So what this is talking about here is look at your physical circumstances. Look at the mortality of the world as it presents itself to you, and recognize that everything that's in this world is passing away, including your body. And that makes you look to something other than this world for your good. And that also makes you look to something other than this world for your courage. By ourselves, we're frail, but one with God is a majority. We have no frailty. Behold, thou hast made my days as an handbreadth, mine age is as nothing before thee. Verily, every man at his best state is altogether vanity. So even at your best, even if you are able to live up to the ripe old age of 120 with great health, it's still not eternal in this world. You're never going to find eternality in this world. And even at your best as a personality in this world, all personalities in this world have egos, and egos are vain, because this world is a world of separation, and this world was based on the concept of separation. So anything we look to in this world to protect us is going to not work for us ultimately. So we are looking for that protection from the Lord of these Psalms. And remember, when we talk about the Lord of the Psalms, we're not talking about a deity. We're not talking about anything separate from us. We are talking about the principle of infinite life itself. Okay. Surely every man walketh in a vain show. Surely they are disquieted in vain. He heapeth up riches and knoweth not who shall gather them. So every man we're just reiterating this, every man meaning every person, every separate body, every ego in this world is vain, and all of our disquietedness, all of our fears are vanity. It's being very clear here that what you're afraid of is a vain thing to be afraid, because who are you to be afraid? Who are you to be afraid of anything? This world doesn't have any power over you, not when you have infinite intelligence backing you up. The only time you feel vulnerable is when you decide that you're separate from your source. So that's vain. When you notice how afraid you are, you don't have to be, upset with yourself about it, but recognize, oh, that's vanity. That's vanity right there. And now, Lord, what wait I for? My hope is in thee. So what are you waiting for? The only thing you want to wait for is God. The only thing you want to wait for is God. And God is never late. God is always right on time. And so if there's something that you're afraid of in this world, it's because you're trying to wait on the world to fix it for you. You don't want to wait on the world, you want to wait on God. And when you wait on God, you know you're not waiting in time. You're just waiting on your own acceptance of that miracle that is waiting for you. Deliver me from all my transgressions. Make me not the reproach of the foolish. Okay, so deliver me from my transgressions. So the reason why you're afraid, okay, fear is something that comes from being guilty, from feeling guilty. And fear demands punishment. And so then you're afraid of what you expect is coming. So it's giving you the formula here, right there, to deliver me from my transgressions and make me not the reproach of the foolish. So any time that you feel reproach, either from another or from yourself, it's from the foolish thought forms within your mind. You have 100% control over the reproach of your own mind. And you don't handle the reproach of your own mind by trying to fix the reproach of your own mind. You handle that by doing exactly what the Psalm says, to turn to infinite intelligence to deliver you. So if there's something that you're afraid of, it's because you're trying to trust in your own power or in some powers of the world. If you are trusting in infinite intelligence, then you have absolutely nothing to fear in turning and looking at the thing that you're trying to run away from. You have all power backing you up. There's nothing to fear. And you can remind yourself of that frequently. There is nothing to fear. I was dumb, I opened not my mouth because thou didst it. Okay, so don't, when you use your words, you want to use your words as guided by infinite intelligence, by your inner guidance. You don't want to invoke the power of the spoken word using only your ego mind, because your ego mind will use that power to talk things up, to talk about how bad things are, or how afraid you are about things, or how bad you are, or how bad they are, or whatever it can do to keep you separate from your source. It will use the power of the spoken word against you. So if you keep your mouth closed until guided by infinite intelligence, then the power of the spoken word is completely backed up by infinite intelligence, and then your words carry forth great and tremendous power. And that's when things can happen, like, seas part and winds are raised and storms are calmed and things like that. And that's because you have the power of the infinite backing up your words rather than just the power of this small separated self. Remove thy stroke away from me. I was consumed by the blow of thine hand. Now, again, the blow of God's hand only feels like a punishment if you're coming from the perspective of a small separated self. The only tragedies that come from God are the tragedies of the ego wanting you to stay separate and miserable and upset and afraid. So when the things that cause you fear go away, if it feels like it's a punishment, it's because you are looking at the world for your salvation rather than the world of spirit for your salvation. From the world of, I don't know, a good analogy of this might be if you had some gnats around you. Well, from the point of view of the gnat, you're a really scary person because you're going to swat them away. But from the point of view of your eyes, it's much nicer for the gnat to be gone and not coming into your eye, right? So from the point of view of your ego, when God comes in and cleans house, so to speak, of all these fears, the ego finds that very threatening and scary. If you find that very threatening and scary, it's because you're identifying with something that's not real. You're identifying with a pseudo-self and not the soul that you were created as. Okay, when thou with rebukes dost correct man for iniquity, thou makest his beauty to consume away like a moth. Surely every man is vanity, Selah. So when God rebukes in the psalm, it's really just a corrective measure. It's not a punishment. It only seems that way if you're on the wrong side of the wrong side of the spell, right? So if you're doing a spell to reverse evil, the person who's sending evil is not going to be very happy because it's going to hurt, right? But you're going to be fine. So if you're doing a spell to eliminate fear and you feel pain, it's because you're identifying with the fearful thoughts rather than with the thoughts of truth. And so in doing that, what God is doing for you is leaning in on your beauty. And your beauty dissolves everything unlike itself for the purpose of healing, consuming away like a moth, completely dissolving away everything that is unlike itself. And surely every man is vanity, so that every ego is vanity is what that means. There's nothing about trying to separate yourself from God that's humble. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and give ear unto my cry. Hold not thy peace at my fears. Okay? For I am a stranger with thee and a sojourner, as all my fathers were. So give ear to my cry. Well, God always hears your cry. Hold not thy peace at my tears. Well, God would never hold his peace at thy tears. The only time that it feels like God is ignoring you is when you're ignoring God. You know, this is the trick. It's like, oh God, please help me. And I'll know that you helped me as soon as it looks like this, and this. Thank you. Like giving God a shopping list. Well, you know, maybe yes, maybe no, but usually if you knew what was going to make you happy, you'd already be happy. So giving God your shopping list is probably not the smartest idea, because your shopping list is full of pain. So instead of that, just say, this is what I think I want. This is the work I've done. These are the goals that I have, but I want you to upgrade them. I want you to tweak them. I want you to show me, what's perfect, what's going to really make me happy. So, and it says, as all my fathers were. So all my fathers were sojourners. That means that I'm in a long lineage of royalty that have been walking this path, and that stretches back into infinity. And we are all part of this great chain, this sort of like this cable tow that is moving from the lowest to the highest, so that we can become freed from all of these entanglements and these prisons that we've created for ourselves, and through those fears are holding them in place. Oh, spare me, that I may recover strength before I go hence and be no more. So to recover strength is, if you think about the strength card in the tarot, it shows you the same. This is exactly what we're working on. It's that feminine force taming a lion or taming some beast, and that beast becomes this little kitty cat. It becomes this little ally of that feminine force. So that same feminine force is within you as the goddess, and if you turn and face those fears with infinite intelligence backing you up, all of those fears will turn into those same little kitties. Okay, so that's you recovering your strength before I go hence and be no more. Now, when you say be no more, you could look at that as before I die, before this body dies, but it's really a lot bigger than that. Be no more meaning till I be no more of the falseness that I've been thinking that I am all these years. All of those problems, all of those fears, all of those worries, and all of that darkness that I have identified with becomes no more. Okay, and then I become who I really am, and that is that soul that I was created to be. All right, so this is how you work this psalm. I hope that you come back to the psalm again and again, and it really, really will pack a punch on those fears for you if you work it very diligently like that. Thank you so much for being with me, and I can't wait to work with you again. Until that time, blessed be.